Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome Hazriq Idrus.
Thank you very much. Please join me and thank our MC. Another round of applause for our MC. Thank you very much. Right, today's session, how to get unstuck and elevate your creativity at work. It's not going to be me just speaking, you're listening. There'll be some activities going on. You have to do activities whether in pairs, whether in little groups. So what you're going to do right now, right? You're going to find yourself a partner. With your table, find yourself a partner, whether you one-to-one or maximum 3 people. Okay, all right, so turn to your partner, and then when I say count to 3, ask your friend, can I be your partner? Okay, ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Must ask your partner. Okay, I'll check. Okay, this time around when I say 1, 2, 3, you are going to turn to your friend and say, tada, my partner. Like that. Okay, I don't make sure everybody has a partner. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, no bad. Okay, I need one more time just to be confirmed, right? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Well done. Okay. So this will be your partner throughout the next 45 minutes or so. So work together with your partner. All right? All right. Next, I want to find out a little bit about yourself. I want to find out about your creativity level. But to do that, can I invite all of you to stand up? All of us. Yes. Yeah, that's stable you are. You can just stand up. All right. I want to check in terms of creativity level between 1 to 10. 1, super not creative. 10, super creative. Where are you on the scale? All right. If you rate yourself 9 and 10, creative, sit down. Wow, nobody creative. Okay, it's okay. Okay, if you rate yourself between 1, 2, 3, 4, sit down. Okay, there's about quite a big, large handful here, all right. If you rate yourself 7, 8, sit down. Okay, so I have a few more. So I presume the rest will be 5, 6, sit down. Thank you. Okay, at least I know more or less where are you on the scale. Okay, do not forget this number. If you want to write it down on your book, by all means, remember this number because today's session, the main point, just one thing you're going to do is hopefully we can level up that number at least by half a notch. All right? And to do this, I'm going to share with you a story. And for me to tell you the story, I need all of you to assist me. As I tell you the story, I need all of you to say yes at the end of every sentence that I'm going to say. Can? All right. At the end of every sentence, just say yes. Can I tell you a story about a boy and a girl? The boy named Jack, the girl named Jill. One day, Jill got kidnapped. Jack saved her. They fell in love. And then they live happily ever after. Thank you. Give your partner a high five. Nice. All right. Now, another story. This time around, instead of say yes, say no. Can I tell you a story? All right. Bye-bye. Wow, you said no very loud, huh? All right. You can see the difference. The first time around, when you say yes, you allow me to continue the story. But when you say no, you stop me. What does it mean? That no represents us getting stuck. Have you experienced that? Got stuck, you cannot move forward, got stuck for ideas, and there's many reasons for getting stuck. Let's say you are not able to achieve your personal and professional goals, got stuck. Or you're stuck at your current job, you cannot move forward for whatever reasons, you get stuck. Or in a meeting, your boss asks you to come up with ideas, that you just cannot come with ideas, got stuck. So these are some of the examples of us getting stuck. The thing is, we need to overcome this. And how to do that is to embrace creativity. Because I believe creativity has the power to unlock possibilities. And in fact, all of us has creativity within us because we are born with it. It's whether or not we are going to use it or not use it. That's the only difference. So three things I'm going to do today. I'm going to look into at what is creativity itself. And we are going to look at why we need creativity, especially in this current era. And lastly, we're going to share on how to increase our personal creativity using the personal creativity blueprint so that you can increase that creativity level that you have shared earlier on just now. Let's look into the what. To do that, let me bring you back to this story. When I was 12 years old, at that time I was living at Geylang East, level 12 HDB block. And one particular evening, after a raining season, it was very cold, so I was very thirsty. So I was going into the kitchen, wanted to find myself a cup of water. And what I saw my dad, he was at the kitchen window. He turned around. I saw in his hands a pigeon, like in the picture here. And he asked me, Abang, because Belia, they call me Abang, Abang, please find something to house the bird. Then, being the 12-year-old me, I was very curious. What happened to the bird? So instead of listening to my dad, I went forward and I touched the bird. The bird got shocked, it flew into the kitchen, and I got shocked, I got screamed. My mom, my sister, who was in the living room watching the television, saw me scream. They went in, they also screamed. Then the whole thing became chaotic. My mom screamed, my sister screamed, myself screamed. The only person that was calm was my dad. He looked around in the kitchen. He saw an empty laundry basket. What he did, he picked that laundry basket. He find the bird, he scooped it, and ta-da! A very simple action. He turned that laundry basket into a simple bird cage. And that was the start on how I realized that is creativity. A simple thing, you can turn it to become something else to solve problems. And that begins my journey. And I'm beginning to interested in creativity. I was finding ways, and as there's a saying that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And my teacher is in the form of theater. So I started doing theater back in 1997, doing theater, and I moved into television, I moved into TV commercial and stuff. And along the way, enjoying doing that. And then there was a calling. Singapore's first performing arts were looking for someone to work with them to manage the library. And being from the theater, I got the job. So I was with the library, with the government agency at the library for about 10 years. 5 years at the library itself, the Singapore's Performing Arts Library, and then the next 5 years at HQ itself. So that's my journey before I start, when I left the board after 10 years doing professional speaking. So that's kind of when I do government work. But I realized this. Creativity is not just about the arts. It's more than that. And I begin to realize a little more things. And I start to wonder, what is actually creativity? If you look into the definition of creativity, there are a lot. I put it together. For me, creativity is about the ability to generate valuable ideas, which you can put at different contexts. Arts is one of them. There are many more, which I will share later on. But the key word here is that creativity is a thinking muscle. It's within us. Like I mentioned earlier on, we are born with it. Only that if we use it, you can be better. If you don't, you will just stay there dormant. So what we want to do, especially this era, is to enhance our thinking muscle called creativity. So that is the word of it. Let's look into why we need creativity. It's very, very important, especially in this current era. And I'm going to share with you a story by Kodak. Those were the days before digital cameras. Remember this? You have your own camera. You have to buy film, right? So those were the days. Kodak is the leading photography company. In fact, by 1968, they had 80% of the market share. Their business model is very simple. They sell camera at a very cheap rate. That's how all of us, or most of us, can afford it. But they make more money selling the film, selling printing. That's how they make more money. But later, in the later years, when the digital camera starting to come forward, they were at the crossroads. Do they need to change or not? And ironically, during that time, one of their staff came out with this idea of digital camera. He brought this idea to the management, but the management say, that's not a good thing because we make a lot of money selling the films. So they shelved the idea. This is the problem. This is where the problem happened. The other companies like Fujifilm, Sony, they embraced technology, they embraced creativity, they took over Kodak, and so much so that 2012, Kodak went bankrupt. That is a very, very sad thing for a big company like Kodak. Imagine this. Imagine we are Kodak. Imagine we don't embrace creativity. Do we want to be like them? Which means we could be at the space where we can't know what to do. That's where stuckness comes into place. So we need to do something, especially in this era, what we call the VUCA, volatile, uncertainty, complex, ambiguous. What you see today won't happen tomorrow. What you don't see today might appear tomorrow. And that's very crucial because our jobs is at stake. Are we able to do that? Things change so fast. And we need to tackle this. And if we can't tackle this, we'll be like Kodak, which what we want to avoid. So how to tackle this is to embrace the traits of a creative person, because a creative person will have VUCA to fight VUCA. So what's that? The first V, a creative person, a trait of a creative person has vision. Because a creative person, because of their imagination, they can think far, therefore they can manage the volatility of the situation. A creative person, they can understand concept so that if there any uncertainty, they are able to maneuver around it. A creative person is courageous. With courage, whatever complex things or whatever challenges they have in front of them, they can go through it. A creative person are agile and flexible, so that if there's any ambiguity, they can go around it, navigate it, and solve problems. This is what we're going to have. This is what we are going to do, increase and embrace creativity. This is the trait of a creative person. In fact, a study by the World Economic Forum, by 2025, this is really 2024, by next year, the top skills, we look in the list there, the top skills are creativity. So we need to embrace it, and we need to embrace it soon, so that we can get unstuck and move forward. The problem is this: there is a misconception of creativity. A lot of people think that creativity is only about the arts, because that's what happened. One of the questions I received, one of my participants back then, he came to me and said, Hazriq, I'm not in the creative industry. Why must I be learning creativity? He got a point because of his understanding of creativity. So because of that, I did a survey among my contacts. I asked my contacts what they think of creativity. And then I got these results. I sent to about 176 people in my network, and they said that about 60%, almost 61%, said that creativity is about the non-artistry creativity. Well, not bad, very good. But there's also about almost 40% say that creativity is artistry, which means while 60% understand what creativity is, there's this 40%, they don't really understand what creativity, which means they are not maximizing their creative potential. That means there's a potential room for improvement. We hope if we are in that 40%, we need to understand creativity so that we can be in the 60%. That's what we hope for. And there's also a study by Dr. John Bauer from Rider University. he mentioned that creativity can be applied in various domains. He mentioned 7, one of which is interpersonal. How do we deal with other people? Earlier on, our speaker mentioned about managing conflicts. How do you manage conflicts? Creativity will come handy to use that. Entrepreneur. Even if we don't run a company, we need to have an entrepreneurial mindset so that we can maneuver problems and solve it. Performance, it will definitely come into place when we embrace creativity. Maths and science, we just come up from the COVID situation. Remember those days when there were COVID situation and the people in the health industry, the healthcare industry were busy coming with ideas to solve that with all the vaccines and all. So these are used, creativity are used in the healthcare industry. Definitely problem solving in any setting. You can see only 2 parts are only for the creativity, only for the artistic, which is the visual and verbal. Other than that, you can use creativity in many, many contexts. So that's the reason why we need to have creativity so that we can maneuver in the VUCA world. Now, this is what I'm going to explore more and deeper for the next half an hour or so on how to increase our creativity level. Let me introduce you the personal creativity blueprint. So this is based on my upcoming book. It's still writing in progress. So I'll share with you today the 5 elements of it, which you need to have to increase our creativity. The first one, what we call the creativity language. So what is creativity language? Have you ever sitting in a meeting, the meeting seems endless? Like, when to finish? Never finish. Experience that? What do you feel? Boring, right? When to finish, all right? Why? Why that thing happen? So that's one experience I had in one of my creativity classes. I got my participants to came up with the idea to list down the uses of straws, but instead of straw, use something else. After some time, one group came up to me. He said, Hazriq, we cannot come up with ideas, not much ideas. Can you help us? And I said, yeah, sure, why not? So I went to the group, and this is what I heard. When one person says something, can I use straw to give sugar? Someone else would say, this is not a good idea. When another person say, can I use straw to tie shoelace? Another person would say, that's not a good idea. So there and then, I realized something is amiss. They were using this language called yes, buts. But if somebody says something, yes, but, no. Somebody says something, yes, but, no. And this yes, but kills ideas. Yes, but make people fear of failure because when people say something, the other person will say yes, but. And it promotes negativity. And that's why our meetings sometimes prolong because we cannot find a conclusion. Experience this before? Yes. So this is what you need to do. We need to put away with yes, buts. How? To change it to another term called yes, and. And yes, and is one of the tools I learned in theater. It helped us to be a better actor, which I share with you today how you can use it in our workplace environment. Just to show of hands, any one of you watch films? Movies? Show of hands. Do you watch films? Yes? Show of hands, just a show of hands, yep. How about theater? Do you watch theater? How about improv theater? Do you watch improv theater? Some yes, some no. All right, I learned this in improv theater. Improv theater means actors on stage, they have no scripts, but they can act by using this philosophy called yes and. And how to do this, I will need to do a little bit of demonstration, but I would need 2 volunteers for the members on the floor. Can I get 2 volunteers, please? Anyone from the floor? 2%. Any 2%? Can I get 2? Oh, okay. This time around, so volunteer people start to look down already, yeah? Just 2%. Any 2%? Anyone? I need 2 volunteers to help me with this. Don't worry, it's very simple. Because after you demo, the rest will do the same thing as well. All right, in this case, Mel, can you give me a number between 1 to 15?
14.
14. We have table 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. The table over there. Can I have one person from the table down there? That's one person. Yeah, from this table, correct. Can I have one person, just one person? Yeah, one person from this table. Yeah, one of you. Don't worry, I share with you what to do. Okay, can you stand up? Can you stand up? Thank you very much. Let's give her a round of applause. You got a chance to choose a partner with you. Here, okay, you can, come, stand up. Don't worry. Okay, can I invite both of you to the front? Because we want to do demonstration for everybody. Come, let's give them a round of applause. Well done. Okay, don't worry, we do the demo and then after they will do, so don't worry, yeah? Okay, stand here, don't need to go on the stage, so stand here. Right, I want to get to know them first. Your name, ma'am? Mei-Ling. And Mei-Ling from?
MSF.
MSF. And yourself, ma'am? Come over here. Sophia.
From MSF.
MHA. Okay, MSF, MHA, Sophia. All right, can you just stand over here? Yeah. Right, going to play this game called Yes and. What you're going to do is, you want to have a conversation. Just say one sentence, and then you respond with one sentence. And then you respond with one sentence. The only criteria is start your sentence with yes and. Then you end the sentence. Then you respond, same thing, start with yes and, then end the sentence. And must be a sentence, cannot be a question. Give you an example, all right, let's say the theme is going to the zoo. So you go something like, yes and let's go to the zoo. Then you say, yes and let's buy the ticket. Then, yes and let's see the monkey. Something like that, okay? So I hold the mic, I just say to the mic so everybody can hear, okay? So who want to start first? Mei-Ling or Sophia? Okay, start first, thank you. Okay, just step forward because I got only one mic, so I'll hold the mic for you, okay? Yes and let's go to the zoo. Okay, let's try.
Yes, and let's go to the zoo.
All right.
Yes, and let's buy the ticket.
Okay.
Yes, and bring our children there. Yes, and let's choose Sunday. Let's drive there.
Yes and first. Yes.
Let's drive there. Yes, let's go together.
Okay.
As a family.
As a family. Okay. Okay, last round. Yes and let's go as a family.
Yes, and prepare some snacks. Yes, that's a good idea.
Well, then let's give them a round of applause. But don't go first because they volunteered. They will walk away with these books I co-author with some other speakers. This is one for you. Thank you. And this is for me for participating. Thank you. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. Have a seat. All right. We have seen that demo. Now it's your turn with your partner. Same thing. Turn to your partner. Decide yourself, person A, person B. Or some of you, 3, person C. All right. Same thing, using the same conversation. Start with yes and then continue the sentence. We play for the next 20, 30 seconds. All right. Same thing, the theme going to the zoo. Go ahead, carry on. Talk to your partners. Wonderful. Give your friend a high five and a round of applause for everyone. Thank you very much. All right. Okay, let me just ask the audience here. So when you have a yes and conversation with your friend, do you enjoy it? Yeah. Do you have a good conversation with your friend? Yeah. And do you have conflict with your friend? You have conflict. Okay. When you conflict, do you fight? Luckily, no fight. Okay. In creativity, if you have some kind of conflict, it's not conflict, it's called creative friction, which is very good because sometimes you need to have creative friction to generate ideas. But this is another topic altogether. Thank you very much for sharing. All right. If you notice, when you say yes and, you have a good conversation, you feel nice, not much conflict, three things happen. I call it the ABC of yes and. A is acknowledge others, because the moment you say yes, you acknowledge other people. That makes the people comfortable, feel good. And then you build the idea better. Then you have an ongoing conversation. And then lastly, without you realizing it, when you say yes and, you collaborate with one another. This will help a very positive environment. You can do this at home, at work with your partner. This creates a difference. And this is what we call the creativity language. Say yes and. And that is the first element. Say yes and. The second element, give me what at the point of time, let's take about 3 seconds. Sink in, recall back what is one aha moment you learned from the creativity language. 3 seconds, you can jot it down somewhere, just to reflect a little bit and have a breather at the same time. All right, so that's the first element. The second element to increase your creativity level is to understand connections. So what is connections? Steve Jobs, almost everyone, if not all, know who he was, the founder of Apple. And he said that creativity is about connecting things. Two or more different things that are not related, put together, create something. And that is true for creativity. And this happened back in, I experienced this in 2018, one of the conferences I need to speak at in Jakarta. So I had to land at Terminal 2 in Jakarta. From Terminal 2 airport, the landing place, to the immigration, it was a long journey. But luckily, the walls, you can see these kind of pictures. You have some balloons, got scuba divers. But the common thing is, you can see, is actually the fire extinguisher. And this makes the journey feel more pleasant. And this is the basic of creativity. Using, in this case, fire extinguisher plus a drawing. Make your journey more pleasant. It's not just white walls. And it was quite a walk from Terminal 2 to the immigration. And there are many other examples of connections. Bread talk, two different words. Bread talk. Soul Garden, Soul Garden. Even DHL, the name of the founders, DHL. They combine this, they connect this, become something new. So this is one of the ways to increase your creativity level. Pick up things from differently and put it together. It becomes something different. And Singapore is good in this. This is a place from my office at our Tampines Hub. I was very fortunate my office can see the old in the area there. So the picture on the left is actually a picture, the old Tampines Stadium being demolished. I think this was in the year 2012, 2013, I remember. And then now it's become OTH. And you can see in one place, they connect many things. You can see library, you can see community centers, many other agencies. Singapore is good in connecting things all together. So these are some of the things you can see in OTH. And a lot more of this is coming up in Singapore. Just the basic, using the basic philosophy of connecting. And how to explain or how to think about connection, just remember this. A, something different. B, something different equals C, which is what I call the creative ideas. So that's element number 2. So let's take about 3 seconds, sink in. If you need to write down, reflect a little bit. What else have you come across in terms of connections? So that's element 2. And we bring you to element number 3, which is curiosity. One of the ways to increase your creativity level is to be curious. And I learned the hard way. Because we must remember, we don't underestimate the power of questions. And something happened to me sometime back when I was still serving. Remember I was working in the Library Esplanade. So there was one particular moment I was manning the counter. So I was at the service. I was a service staff then. Two elderly couple, probably UK or US, they came to the counter and said, "Excuse me, is there a water fountain over here?" And me wanting to be a good service provider, I said, "No, sir, no, ma'am. The only nearest water fountain was in Suntec City, which is about 10 minutes walk." Then the lady said, 10 minutes walk? There's no water fountain here. No, ma'am, there's no water fountain here. And then the guy the guy said that, "You mean there's no way I can drink?" Then I was, oh, he's not referring to this. I thought he was referring to this. They were actually referring to this water fountain. Then I realized, because what happened? I did not probe. I did not ask further. I assumed he was talking about this water fountain. Imagine go to this place to drink. Very hard, right? Yeah. So imagine the power of questions. You need to ask, you need to probe, so that you can have the better solution. So this person, the Dick Fosbury, he's actually a high jumper in the 1960s era. During those days, when people do high jump, they will actually they will run forward and then they jump over. Not like this picture, they will jump either forward or sideways whatsoever. But he was not a good high jumper. He always finished last. So along the way, he asked himself a question. And I brought down into three questions. First, he will ask, why the technique he used was not effective for him to jump higher. This technique, I call it the analysis question. So you're faced with a challenge, you need to ask the analysis question. Next, he asked, how can I jump higher? After he understands what was the root cause, he asked himself, how can I jump higher? This, I call it the reframing question. This is where you reframe from problem to solution focus. And lastly, he asked himself, what if I jump backwards as a new jumping technique because it wasn't used before? This is what I call the trigger question. Just like this picture, he did it, he made it, and he broke the world record. They broke the Olympic record in 1968, if I'm not wrong. And this method is called the Fosbury flop, which we know today. So these are the questions you need to ask. Because when we are curious, we can then find that root cause to be able to find that solution to the problem. So this is what I call the art of asking questions. Analysis question, reframing question, and trigger question. The art of asking questions. So that's element number 3. We have 2 more elements. The 4th one is what I call the celebrate failure. People don't like the word failure, but in fact, there's something goodness in failure that we need to embrace. I'd like to share the story by architect Alfred Batz, who was an architect, but he got retrenched during the 1930 Great Depression. But being an architect, he wants to do something. And he knew that during those times, people enjoy doing word puzzles. And because of that, he got the idea, why not he take words, he take letters, and he put numbers to it, so that people can play from words but earn points. Something like Scrabble. But he called it Lexico. But that idea did not do well. He only managed to sell like 84. No good for him. So he was finding ways to improve on that. And then next, he fine-tuned the game. He called it crisscross words. But then again, didn't do well. Nobody want to buy it until something happened in 1952. By then, he had renamed it. He had fine-tuned it, become Scrabble. He brought the game in one of the hotels. And the president of Macy's department store, a big store at that time in the US, he chanced upon the Scrabble game. He played at the lobby of the hotel. He realized, hey, this is a good game. And because of that, he then purchased this and from then Scrabble became so popular that sold 6,000 units almost weekly, and that made him probably millionaire during those times. But you can see from the year he got retrenched until 1952, so many years, but he did not give up. And that is actually resilience. In fact, the Ralph Health, author of Celebrate Failures, he mentioned that celebrating failures is not about embracing the power of failures, but to improve and achieve greater goals. In fact, for me, it's not about how many times you have fallen. It's about how many times you get up. Every time there's a failure, don't look at failure, look into it. There's always goodness into it, because celebrating failure means develop your resilience. So always look for the lessons in it, look for the wins. This is a technique to celebrate failure, which is element number 4. Let's take about 3 seconds. Sink in. You might want to write it down somewhere in the book. This is element number 4, celebrate failure. Let me now move into the last part, the last element, what I call the challenge of status quo. All right. Probably you have done this, or probably you have not. Get to do this. Can I invite all of you? You have a paper in front of you, right? Or the book. Find an empty space. Draw these 9 dots. Then draw 4 straight lines, or rather 4 continuous straight lines without lifting up the pen to join all the 9 dots. All right. Just look at this. Look at the instructions. Draw the 9 dots first. Oh, you got ready, huh? Okay, one person got ready, but let's ask the rest. Okay. Join all these 9 dots using 4 continuous straight lines. Let's do it for about 30 seconds. Let's see whether you can do it. Let me check. We have one friend over here has managed to solve it. Where? Oh, not bad, huh? Rizwan, well done. So we have one. Rizwan got it. You managed to find it, or you saw it before?
Done before.
No, done before. Done before. Okay. Let's give Rizwan a round of applause. At least he can remember. All right. Hey, let's give him a round of applause. Thank you. All right. Okay, let's try. Let's robust. Let's try. Who else? Who else can manage to find it? Let me see. 1, 2, but you got 2 dots missing. Cannot. Remember, touch all the 9 dots. All the 9 dots. No, this one is Zoro. Zach. But 2 dots missing. Yeah. Can? Not easy, yeah. Usually, if first time you see this, it's not easy, but can be done. Some people ask me, can give clue? Can. Think outside the box. All right. Can? Cannot? Who else can? Not yet? Okay. Let me share with you the answer. Okay, there's no right or wrong answer. All right, but it's one of the common answer people do. The first line. Okay, once you know this, later go back home, teach your kids, play with your kids with this, or your husband or wife. All right. First line. Take the line, draw straight line, pass the last dot. Second line. Draw it down. Okay, must touch all the dots, down. Second line. Third line. Bring up. The last line. Across. So the picture a bit off, but it's okay. But you must touch the dots. So this is 4 straight lines. You can use 4 straight lines to touch all the 9 dots. But the problem is this. Why we couldn't do it? Because it's not wrong. It's not we are not good or something. It's just because most of us, when we see this thing, we tend to draw our individual box like this. That's why people say always think out of the box. We cannot see within that. Sometimes the solution is outside of the box. We need to go beyond that to find that solution. In fact, there's a book called The Structure of Scientific Revolutions by Thomas Kuhn. In the book, it's quite a thick book. The gist of the book, it says that most creativity and innovation that take place come from people or idea from another industry. And a good example, again, I like to bring back to my example in the library. Those were the days when you go to the library to bring the books to the library, then the library will stamp, right? So those were the days. So when the CEO came over, took over National Library Board, he was not a librarian. Not librarian by training, he was from IT. He was for National Computer Board. So he brought all his expertise in computer, turned NLB into what you see today. It's all computerized and make our lives so much easier. So just you can borrow the book from anywhere, return the books anywhere. All those done behind the scenes. So again, take from another industry into your industry. Same thing, if you have a problem in your area, sometimes you don't look into your area, look solution from elsewhere. That might help you. Right? Another example is this. I love to go to KL, but I don't like to fly, so I took this bus. It's a bus, but it actually serves like an airline. There's a steward serving food, everything. So I always like to take this bus whenever I go to KL. So two industry, bus industry and the airline industry, they can enjoy two industry in one sitting. All right? All right, so how to think, or rather, how to increase that creativity level? For element number 5, in order to challenge the status quo, always think like an explorer. Think beyond, explore more, experiment more. That will help us to be a better and more creative person. So that is element number 5, think like an explorer for challenge the status quo. So these are the 5. Let me just wrap up the 5 things you learn. So before this, we already covered what is the what of creativity. And then we looked into why we need to have creativity. And then these are the 5 elements. The first one is creativity language by saying yes and. And then next element is to have connections using A plus B equals creative idea. The third element is using the art of asking questions, help you to develop curiosity. And number 4, celebrate failure by look for the lessons and look for the wins. And the last one, challenge the status quo, look beyond that. How? By thinking like an explorer. We hope that this simple framework will help you to increase that creativity level so that this will help you to get unstuck and move forward. Right. Before we end, there's a 3-step action plan that you're going to do. Right? The first thing you're going to do is identify what is your personal creativity gaps. Is it element 1? Is it element 2? Is it element 3, 4, or 5? Once you have identified it, the next step is to commit on one element. Don't do all yet. Just choose one first. Work on it. Execute it. Practice it. I would recommend do something new for the next 3 to 4 weeks because one habit can be changed within 3 to 4 weeks. Once you do that, then move on to the next element that you want to improve. So these are the 3 simple steps. I call it ICE. Identify, commit, execute. Easy to remember. So these are the 3 simple steps to improve your creativity level. So before I end, there's 3 last things. Before we end, let's take 20 seconds, reflect what is one thing that you will do to make a change. To do this, share with your partner. Just let your partner know, 20 seconds, what you will do to improve your creativity. 20 seconds, share with your partner. Whether you want to share element 1, whether you want to change element 2, 3, 4, or 5. Share with your partner. Take this as a personal reflections. And we hope that the session, the learning doesn't stop here. I hope to connect with all of you. Feel free to join the free emailers. I send out usually monthly personal growth email. Feel free to touch it. And feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. If you have any questions on creativity or anything, just let me know. And both QR codes are in the handout. Feel free to do that. And let me end with one of my favorite quotes. If you watch Spider-Man, Miss Ben Parker, he always tell the Peter Parker, right? With great powers comes great responsibility. For me, I tweak a little bit. I change it into creativity that says, with creative powers comes creative responsibility. With that, Hazriq Idrus signing off. Thank you very much. Over to Mel.